Iskazhi. Let's understand Iskazhi first. Now, Iskazhi, the word Iskazhi that is in your chapter lesson number 2, Iskazhi has few components, and we need to understand the mechanism of Iskazhi, the function of Iskazhi. It's not very difficult. It's really easy to understand as long as we pay attention. It's really easy. But Iskazhi is used with many applications. So Iskazhi, first of all, I-S-C-S-I. This word is pronounced as Iskazhi. This word is pronounced as Iskazhi. So Iskazhi. And Iskazhi stands for Internet Small Computer System Interface. That stands for Internet Small Computer System Interface. Internet Small Computer System Interface. One word for Iskazhi is storage. Iskazhi provides external storage actually. Iskazhi provides external storage. Iskazhi provides external storage. So the word Iskazhi, whenever the word Iskazhi comes next time in Citrix, in VMware, in SCCM, in any organization, anywhere, it basically refers to external storage, not internal storage. It refers to external storage. Now, storage are of two types. You have internal storage and external storage. Just like in cell phones, in smartphones, you have a storage that is inside, and we can bring a small card, SD card, and that is external storage. So Iskazhi refers to external storage. Now, how do you see Iskazhi? So when you buy a computer, all the computers comes with a disk. So we are now understanding what is Iskazhi. For now, we just know that Iskazhi stands for Internet Small Computer System Interface. What does it stand for? Internet Small Computer System Interface. And then Iskazhi provides external storage. It refers to external storage. Now, what is external storage? When you have a computer or a server, so when you have a computer, and computer can be a small computer, a laptop, or it can be a server. All the computers have storage inside, which is a disk. All computers have disks inside. A computer without a disk cannot work. All computers have disks. Do we agree to the fact that all computers have disks? Now, this disk is only for this computer. So anything in this computer can use this disk, right? So we install Windows inside, and that starts using this disk. And we call this disk a C drive. And within C drive, we just created a folder called IT department, and we did screening and all that in C drive, right? So this storage it refers to as local storage. So whenever somebody refers to, check your local storage, they simply are referring to check your local disk inside. What is external storage? Guys, external storage is of many types, and one of the type is Iskazhi. Now, how many other types of storage external storage is? A simplest type of external storage, so either you have a local storage or you can work with external storage. Now, external storage, a simplest type of external storage is a USB drive that we use every day. So we all have drives like these, a USB drive. You can connect to a machine, and it is an external storage. So when we refer to external storage simply means that this disk is not inside your computer, it is external to your computer. So if I say external storage is connected like this. So this is my USB drive. And basically USB drive is one type of external storage. This is one type of external storage. Now when companies talk about external storage, guys, this disk is not a reliable disk to keep your most critical data. So critical data you cannot keep in them. Why? Because you can lose them, and plus they can fall, and they can easily get corrupted, or they are not safe enough. So instead, what companies rely on, they don't rely on USB as an external storage. They rely on Iskazhi or SAN. So they rely on two types of major storage. That is, one of them is SAN, and the other one is Iskazhi. So today we are just discussing Iskazhi. So meaning Iskazhi is an external storage, but Iskazhi will be much better than just a USB drive. So Iskazhi will be something like this. In Iskazhi, we are going to create a server, and in this server, the local storage will be shared, and this shared storage will be referred to as Iskazhi. So now this storage is local for this server, but basically for this server it is external. So for this server it is external. So that external storage is referred to as Iskazhi. So number one, Iskazhi refers to an external storage. External storage can be as simple as USB, but it's not USB, it is better than a USB. But what it is basically, it is sitting in another server, and this disk is being used for this. Now what is the advantage? Why would people go for external storage? Because if this server is crashed, it will take down all the local storage as well. But whatever is saved in external storage will still be safe. So people use Iskazhi to keep their data safe outside the server. It is as simple as this. Because where do we keep our valuables? Sometimes the jewelry at home, we keep it in lockers. Why would we keep it in lockers? Because it is external to our house. So for that reason, Iskazhi is used as external storage to keep our data safe out of the server. So that is what Iskazhi's concept is. In Iskazhi, what you have is, it refers to as external storage, and basically it is a storage on another server. On this server, you're keeping all the data of this server from here, and you're accessing it from here.
Is it on the same place?
Both servers are in same place, or they can be maybe in a different room as well, but they are in the same place.
How big is it?
It can be as big as you can spend. It can be as big as this storage. Your question is, how big is the storage, right? So it can be, for example, you just bought 500 terabytes, 500 gigs of SSD, right? So you spent some amount, but if you would have bought 1 terabyte or maybe 2 terabyte SSD, so it depends on how much company would like to buy. But overall, Iskazhi concept is to keep the data safe outside of the server, to keep it safe, that if in case the server is crashed, your data is outside. But now the biggest problem with external storage, the problem with external storage, that whenever you keep a data outside a storage, the speed is very slow, and some applications cannot work with slow speed storage. For example, if you try to keep anything that is very important in this USB, and every day you try to access it, it won't work properly, because USB speed is just limited. But Iskazhi provides you high speed storage. That's another advantage of Iskazhi. The speed of this storage is higher than just a USB. USB is a slow external storage. Iskazhi is a high speed external storage. So that's another advantage of Iskazhi. So based on this quick understanding, what is Iskazhi? Iskazhi refers to an external storage for critical applications. Iskazhi is also a fast external storage. Iskazhi is also a fast external storage. server side. Oh, it was not recording?
I stopped it.
Okay. Iskazhi components. So there are Iskazhi components. Iskazhi has two components. One component is known as Iskazhi target. The other component is known as Iskazhi initiator. The server side of Iskazhi is known as Iskazhi target. This is server side, and this is client side. So server side and client side. Now, in this case, based on this quick understanding, in this case, since this is a storage side, so this is a server side. On this side, you should have Iskazhi target. This is Iskazhi target. The server that provides the storage is known as Iskazhi target, and the server that receives the storage is known as Iskazhi initiator. So right here, this server is known as Iskazhi initiator. This is Iskazhi initiator, and this is Iskazhi target. Now before that, oh, he forgot his jacket. Numan? Oh, yeah. Thank you. So here, Iskazhi target. So the server that provides the storage is known as Iskazhi target, where a server that receives the storage is known as initiator. So that is the receives as initiator. So in another way, it is the target is the server that provides storage, and here the server that receives the storage. So easier way to understand is that initiator is on the receiving side and target is on the providing side. The server that provides is a target, and whereas initiator. Just like we are all receiving the cell phone service from Rogers or Bell, so Rogers and Bell are targets, whereas we are initiators. So whenever we are setting up the Iskazhi network, the very first thing we need to set up is Iskazhi target, and then we'll just configure Iskazhi initiator to receive it. Okay? So one more time, guys, today we are understanding Iskazhi, and Iskazhi stands for Internet Small Computer System Interface. Main purpose of Iskazhi is to provide external storage. Main purpose is external storage. So one word for DHCP is automatic provide IP addresses. One word for DNS is name resolution. One word for Active Directory is authentication. And guys, one word for Iskazhi is external storage. It provides external storage. Now, right here, Iskazhi, and why would company need Iskazhi? Because it refers to an external storage for critical applications. For critical application, number one, and then Iskazhi is a fast external storage. So here in bracket we can say as compared to USB external storage or any other external storage. USB external storage. And then Iskazhi components are two. We need to set up Iskazhi target on the server that will provide the storage, and we need to set up initiator that would receive the storage. Okay? So now let's see how these components are made. Let's say in our company, in our organization, we have server number one. This is called a server number one, and this server number one. Okay, I'll give you a minute to write it down, whatever you need to write down, then I need you to understand. You can write it down, whatever you need.
What do you mean by critical?
Yes, critical means important applications. Critical mostly refers to an application. If that application goes down, business will be affected. For example, you've seen CNC machines, right? Huge big machines.
Yeah.
Now, if that machine's software goes down, then the machine is not doing anything.
That's right.
So that machine and the software is critical, is said to be critical. In TD Bank or banking environment, their machines that are connected to ATM servers or the machines that are connected to tellers, they're all critical. But what is not critical? Critical might not be maybe a normal file server. That is, if that goes down, it won't affect the money coming into your organization. Critical is anything that can affect the revenue. That can, for example, in Evergreen College here, if let's say if lighting is not working in one room, it is not critical. Why? Because we can sit in another room. But if the lighting is complete, Evergreen floor is not working, that is critical. So in the same manner, some servers are critical in organization and some are not. But Iskazhi is for critical servers. Iskazhi. Now let's say we have a critical server. And this server is critical. How critical it is? So this is critical. To this server, all users from outside, thousands and thousands of users connect to this server and they get their services. For example, it could be let's say TD Bank website. TD Bank website. It's a TD Bank website server. Now, how many people every day connect to TD Bank website? Not thousands, millions. Millions of hits this server is getting from people. People are going into their ATM card, people are so this server is critical. And they save some information in the local disk, as well. Let's say Iskazhi doesn't exist. Now if this server, if let's say on this server there is a hardware failure. Hardware failure, maybe CPU is heating up. If CPU heat up, then the complete server will go down. And that will take down the storage as well. So for that reason, most of the time, almost 99% of the time, the storage of critical application is sitting outside the server. We keep it outside the server. So that if this server goes down, the data of all these users should be saved. If the data is saved, you can create another server and attach that storage to another place. Okay, so for that reason, you need to keep that outside. Now, when you have decided, you know what, this server is critical and data has to be saved outside, now the next question is, what type of external storage do we need? Now that company can go for a USB. External storage, they can say, you know what, buy 1 terabyte USB and put everything inside. Okay, so they can buy a USB option. But what is the problem with USB? The problem with USB is the speed of connection. Have you ever tried copying anything on a USB from this machine? Anything more than 10 GB? 10 GB so maybe a 10 MB file might be very fast copying, but 10 GB file will take 2 hours to copy. So when huge number of users connect to the server, and from server they are connected to USB, it will be very, very slow. So this is where they need to decide, they need to get a faster storage, faster external storage. Now let's say they have decided not to go for USB but to go for Iskazhi. Now we're about to set a Iskazhi setup. In order to do Iskazhi setup, we need two components, one called target and then the other called initiator. Which one will be initiator? This server or the other server? This server. So this server will be initiator. So initiator is already here. Initiator, Iskazhi initiator is already, all we need to do is to create a Iskazhi target. And how do you create a target? It's very simple. Just install another server. It will be another Windows server, Windows 2012. And inside a server, you will install a new feature. Remember how you install the FSRM? FSRM, how do you install it? Add role then feature and then you enable that feature. That is another feature called Iskazhi target. All you need to do is to create a feature called Iskazhi target. As soon as you add that feature, this becomes a target server. So now we have two things available. We have a target server available and an initiator. All we need is a storage. So for storage, what we do is we will, so first of all, this server has its own C drive. We won't be using C drive as external storage for this. What we'll do is we'll add a new drive to this. We'll just right click on that server, we'll add a new disk, and that disk will be, let's say, 40 GB, and then connect excuse me, connect that disk to our Iskazhi target.
So what you do with the one there?
We won't be using it. So your company rejected it because it was slow. So we won't be using USB.
What about the applications inside it?
No, application is still here.
Oh, still
So they were shopping around and they were saying, should we go for USB as external drive, or should they go for a Iskazhi? So they opted out for Iskazhi. So they said, we're gonna need Iskazhi. So Iskazhi target, number one, add a feature called Iskazhi target. Number two, add a disk. And number three, make it a virtual disk of Iskazhi and then present to this. So major steps are these. Once we do the lab, major steps are these. Major steps are, number one, add Iskazhi target feature. Number one. Number two, add a new disk. We all know how to add a disk in a VM. In a VM, or just go to properties, add a new disk. Let's say 40 GBs, 40 gigs. Number three is, now this disk that is added, would it be offline or online?
Online.
It's a new disk.
It's offline, then you put
Yes,
in.
yes.
Make it online.
Yes,
yeah.
new disks are always offline.
Offline, then
So
make it online.
you need to make the new disk, make the new disk online, and do what?
Volume.
And also create a volume. Once this is all done, then you need to come to target and then create a virtual disk of that disk. So this is a original disk, then create virtual disk. Once it is created, then the last step will be to configure the initiator to connect to this. That's it. So configure this initiator to connect to this here. Okay. So again, one more time, this lesson refers to Iskazhi initiator. Iskazhi refers to external storage of any organization. Why would company need to go for external storage? They go for external storage for the reason of a fast external storage, and it is also secured external storage. Now, if we look at the lesson here, yes, we're gonna create it. Let's look at the summary and then we'll do the labs here. So summary. Based on our quick understanding, so Iskazhi target on server 2012 or server 2012 enable you to provide storage across the network to Windows computer systems through Iskazhi initiator. Iskazhi initiator component enables client and server to connect to Iskazhi target. So initiator connects to target, whereas target enable us to provide external storage. Then you have something called SNS server role to enable computers to find the initiators and targets within your organization. Then it talks about thin provisioning enables you to create virtual disk. So we're going to create virtual disk as well. Okay, so any question about Iskazhi target here? Okay, so now what we're going to do, we're going to do a lab and then we're going to create Iskazhi target. What I want you to do first is go into your server and add a feature called Iskazhi target, which sits inside. So before even adding a feature, add a disk, add a new disk. Just before adding a feature, add a new disk and then make it online. So first do this step, 2, 3, 2, 3. Just do 2, 3 step. 2 and 3. Add a new disk. Add a new disk, and then make it online and make a volume.